Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of the 411 Talk Zone Radio Show, Red Pill Edition, right here on YouTube. My name is Leon Jones, and in this video, I want to tell you to avoid jealous people. The name of this video is Avoid Jealous People. Now, in this day and age, we live in what we call a PC culture, politically correct culture. And what used to be normal is now abnormal, and what is abnormal is now normal. A number of us know that. But living in a culture of today, you have a number of people who are easily offended. And these individuals who are easily offended want to control your thoughts, they want to control your feelings. And when it comes to jealous people, what they want to do is destroy your life. Let me give you an example. When you have a relationship. Now, I see it mostly with women. When a woman has a relationship with a man, what you see is a lot of jealous women. Now, these women, what they're going to try to do, they're going to try to put all types of negative information in that woman's ear so she believes what they say. And then what's going to happen after that, she's going to question the man that she's dating. And what that does is throw the man off kilter. Now, you have some jealous men as well, but I see it amongst women. Now, why do they do that? Because a number of these women are jealous of that woman's happiness. And this is why I always tell individuals to keep your circles small. Don't allow anyone to compromise your relationship. Even when you're at work, you're going to have a lot of jealous people. If you're doing a good job and somebody else isn't, well, the person that isn't doing a good job could start rumors in the workplace. This is why I say the workplace is like a high school party. Now, what negative people tend to do is they utilize shaming tactics to make themselves feel good. And what they try to make you do is feel bad. For instance, let's talk about politics. Well, in a political realm, you have the Democratic Party. They always tell you how often things aren't fair. But yet, with their hypocrisy, they're living lavish lifestyles. And what these Democrats have in their head is a communist way of thinking. And I've been over to Russia, and what communism promotes is a mediocre way of living. This is what's going on in America now, particularly when it comes to the liberals. Because, see, a number of jealous people are parasitic and they're very narcissistic. And some of these jealous people are very educated. But when you deal with a number of jealous people, they're going to promote a negative energy. Now, as a man, you always have to be aware of your surroundings. You have to understand who's in your circle, because there's always one in a bunch who's trying to get what you have. And in that person's mind, they believe they should have what you have, even if they didn't earn it. And when you live in a culture that basically allows jealousy to happen, it's going to continue to happen. So, how can you overcome jealousy? Well, the easiest thing is when you deal with anybody in general, you have to vet them. And then you have to look at their actions. And you can't invest your feelings into individuals without seeing how they perform. See, in America, we live in a performance-based society. Now, you have a number of individuals who know how to talk a good game, but they don't walk a good game. And as a man, you got to know who you are. You got to know what you want. Now, jealousy also promotes the Me Too movement. You look at Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown has been accused of sexual allegations, and a number of men have been accused for sexual allegations. Not just black men, but white men. Now, I just want to tell a lot of the black men something too. When it comes to success, you can't save everybody in the community. Because when it comes to black people, a lot of black people who aren't successful are jealous of successful black people. And here's why. When it comes to being successful as an African American, a lot of us have a defeatist attitude. We come from a impoverished or poverty mindset. And when we see someone get out the bucket, there's always a posse of people trying to pull them back down. Now, why do they do that? Because they are jealous. The person who is successful is going to be shamed. Again, this is what Ringo TV said, the Benny Blanco syndrome. When you have people around you who are jealous, they're going to try to slow your production down. They're going to have you guilt-ridden. Now, jealousy is also a form of insecurity, because the person who is jealous really doesn't feel good about himself or herself. And again, what they do, they love to project their anger on other people because they want other people to be equal or equally miserable. Now, when it comes to, again, I'm going back to the African American community. When it comes to your success and your money, your finances, you can't give it to everybody. And too many black men, they believe in order to get women, you have to have money. But what's happening, a number of these African American males are getting with the wrong women, and the women use them for their money. And if they don't get what they want, I'm talking about the women, then they're going to utilize the Me Too and the sexual allegations argument against the brother. You look at Bill Cosby, Tiger Woods, Seal, Taye Diggs. Of course, you throw Antonio Brown in there. And there are a number of other black men. And, you know, as a black man, we're always told that black men aren't successful. Well, there are a lot of successful black men. It's just that we don't notice them because we never talk about them. Because we are busy as African Americans talking about unifying everybody. You can't unify a community that isn't a community. Because when it comes to the African American community, there is a lot of jealousy that sits with us. We don't support one another. We don't communicate with one another. We have big egos. Now, we've had good leaders who were probably jealous of one another. Look at Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. They couldn't come together. There are a couple of professors out there, Dr. Cornel West and Michael Eric Dyson. Although I disagree with their politics, they're probably jealous of one another. And when it comes to African American men, our egos will shine because of our jealousy and insecurity. We do not know how to compete with other men because we're busy giving all our resources to low hanging fruit women. Now, there are a number of good women out there as well who have basically given some of their resources to low hanging fruit men. But when it comes to jealousy, we live in a civilization that promotes jealousy. And they promote jealousy because they want everything to be equal. This is where you get redistribution of everything, the welfare state. And again, when it comes to jealousy, it does not help people who want to be successful. Why? Because every time you become successful, the person who is unsuccessful is very jealous of you and they want to take you out. You see it in the rap game. And if you don't believe me, let's go back to Biggie Smalls and Tupac. And when you're on top, there's always somebody trying to knock you down. So, as a man, what you really have to do, let me go back on something I said earlier. To avoid jealous people, you have to travel the road alone. You have to pick up the information. You have to look at the information. Once you pick it up, understand the information, and do your own thinking. And this is why I don't do Google Hangouts, because I've seen a lot of Google Hangouts where you have a number of individuals, they're jealous of one another. And again, going back to the African American community, we believe that we have to have a whole lot of resources to get women. In fact, we put vagina as the top priority. Meanwhile, we're behind all the other races when it comes to politics and economics because we don't know about politics and economics. And since we are jealous of what other races have, we try to be like other races. And we want to be like other races. And we think that other races are the next best thing, in which they're not. And because we've been told that as African Americans that we are at the bottom, and we are at the bottom economically because it's not white supremacy that has kept us at the bottom. It's our own fault. We've been kept at the bottom because what has happened in the past, we've had the Moors, the Egyptians, and we've had black pastors and kings create white supremacy by selling slaves to white folk, giving our information to white folk like calculus and geometry and language. And what did the other race do? They took what we gave them and used it against us to defeat us. So, what happened after that? We became slaves at the bottom of the barrel. And if you look at what's going on now, as black people, many of us will never get out of our situation because we don't try. We think the government owes us something. And if we were able to get reparations, guess what would happen? It wouldn't work because we're going to put our money right back into white businesses instead of building our own businesses. And when it comes to black business, black people don't support black businesses. Why? Because black people are jealous of one another. They don't want to see each other get to the top. But if you look overall in Western society, I'm going to talk about women right now. You have decent looking women who are shamed by sloppy looking women. Why? Because the sloppy looking women don't want to take care of themselves. They don't want to look good. And they think if you are a good looking woman, they think, well, being good looking translates you can get a free ride. Well, that is partially true. But again, when it comes to being a man, we can't put all our stock in women, period, unless that woman is your woman. Again, that woman must be your woman. But jealousy comes in different forms. Again, by way of government and politics, when you hear income wealth redistribution, shaming tactics, equality. Because what we're really doing is we're trying to take resources from successful people to give them to unsuccessful people. It doesn't work, it never has worked. But as a culture, as a whole culture here in the West, we don't value life. And the first sign of jealousy always comes down to the people that you associate with. Again, going back to the workplace, there's a lot of gossip going on. This is why there's a lack of productivity going on at work, because the rumor mill opens up because we're jealous of somebody else's success. Again, in relationships, a man or a woman, they got people outside the relationship putting all this bullcrap in their ear. And again, for women, women are very gullible. And they get their feelings hurt when they hear something that they can't basically prove, but they hear it from somebody else who can't prove it either. And see, when you have individuals who are jealous, that just stymies all of society. Because if you're one who's ambitious, you're going to be shamed for knowing more than the next person. And again, this is why I believe as a man, you got to travel the road alone. Because you're going to have a lot of jealous people who aren't going to like what you do. And when it comes to making decisions, sometimes a decision that you are going to make in front of your cronies might not be popular. Now, I sit here on YouTube and talk about red pill content, but you got to be a Sigma male, the lone wolf. You got to be the one to pick up the knowledge and go forth with it. Now, you get a good woman along the way, that's fine. But if you get a good woman, you got to treat her right. Can't play games. And you get a good woman, you got to make sure that she understands your program. Because if she doesn't, and she finds that you're more successful than she is, she's going to try to destroy you, and destroy you with the system. And if you're a man, if you want to be in the upper echelon, then you got to deal with the upper echelon of people. See, the problem that I see with a lot of these athletes, particularly black athletes, they want to go back and try to rescue people they grew up with. You can't do it. These individuals are stymied. They're comfortable because they're complacent. But they're going to bitch and moan about you being where you are, and they're going to call you a sellout, a coon, because you wanted something for yourself and you had the talent that they didn't have. And when it comes to education, every degree does not amount to the same money. I remember I had somebody a long time ago who was working for the government when I was working at PennDOT, and I forgot what position they had. They had been working for about 30 years, and they were making X amount of dollars, and I had come on board as an engineer, and I made a little more than they did, and they were telling me, well, I should be making much more than you should make because you hadn't been here a long time. And I frankly said, well, look what I majored in. You majored in something easier than I majored in. Yes, you have the education just like I have the education, but I went into something much harder. And usually, what jealous people do, they complain. And their complaints are irrelevant. And they get emotional. And they get immature. And they whine. They're like little children. And they act like they're entitled to what you have. Again, when you deal with jealous people, you got to have it in your mind that you're going to travel the road alone. You know, in the 90s, they taught us all this group think and teamwork. Certainly, you have to work as a team, but you got to be an individual. Because outside of your circle, it's only you. And then if you're in a circle, it's still going to be only you. And it's going to be only you because, again, the people in your circle, they might be scoping you out to see what they can get from you because they're jealous. Because in their mind, they believe they should have what you got. They don't believe you should be where you are. Now, going back to blacks, there have been some successful blacks like Jay-Z. Now, see, Jay-Z's situation is different because he married somebody with a lot of money. But again, going back to some of these black athletes, they're always hanging around the wrong types of women. And these women that they're hanging out with, all they want is their money. And when a guy interacts with these low-hanging fruit women, he can get caught up in the scandal. And once he gets caught up, there goes his career. And as men, and of course women, if you're striving to be the best you can be, you cannot surround yourself with people who are negative or jealous because they're going to try to take you down. And when it comes to being who you are, you got to know what you want out of life. See, a lot of these jealous people made poor decisions in their lives, and they didn't really know what they want in life. Now, there are exceptions to the rule where you had some of them out there who were brought up in a bad environment, and they weren't mentored, and they followed their predecessors. That also happens. But for the most part, when it comes to individuals in general, when they're jealous, they're very insecure. And they feel good about cutting you down. But at the end of the day, it doesn't change anything. Now, let me give you an example. When Oprah was on, you had a number of women who would wake up to watch Oprah. Oprah would say something to make them feel real good. But then after Oprah was over, these women would go back to being their same selves. Nothing. And you have a number of people who want to be certain individuals on TV. And they don't live in the real world. See, to be what you want to be takes a lot of work. And you got to be willing to put out the work. Many of us don't want to put out the work. Many of us are enabled to be in certain places. This is why you have a number of grown kids living at home. Because you have some of these mothers who can't live by themselves. Some of these fathers who can't live by themselves. And another of these parents, they didn't teach their children how to be independent. And you have a lot of children who are jealous of what other children have. And you also have children who are jealous of what their parents have. And this is why you've had some children kill their own parents. You see, jealousy causes a lot of problems. Jealousy puts strain between co-workers, family members, friendships. This is why I keep a small circle, and I know who I am dealing with. And if you are going some places, it's best to be the lone wolf. Again, I do YouTube for free. I don't have a Patreon channel. I do have a Patreon account, but I don't have any videos on it. I get up here to teach. But at the end of the day, my job is to give you my knowledge from my own perspective. But when it comes to jealousy, jealousy does not discriminate because jealousy is a problem. Jealousy can lead people to suicide. Jealousy can lead people to murder. Jealousy can lead people to lose their jobs. Jealousy could lead people to be convicted about something or convicted or charged with something that they didn't do. Again, you look at the Me Too movement. Some of these women are jealous when they see some of their cohorts get ahead, especially when it comes to the younger and older women. I mean, the younger women, yes, did they use their looks? Absolutely. But the older women, they used their looks as well when they were younger. It's just that they fell off, and the younger women have come up, and they're now in the driver's seat. And the older women don't like that. And this is why you have some of the older women who want to control some of the younger women. And you have the same thing with the older men. Okay, a number of the older men made poor decisions. So they want to bring their generational thinking to some of the younger men. And I'm talking about when it comes to relationships and raising children. Well, you can't do that. Now, you can give suggestions, but at the end of the day, you have to understand who you are and you have to look at the real world. And as a red pill man, the only thing I know is the real truth. Now, when it comes to YouTube, you got some individuals who are jealous of people who can travel. And there's nothing wrong with traveling, but travel for the right reason. And the reason why the individuals are jealous of people who travel because they can't do it. They have child support problems. They have families holding them down. There's nothing wrong with traveling with your family. But see, the problem with all this jealousy, we're using it to police other people. I should have called this video Stay in Your Lane, because many of us don't stay in our lane. We're always worried about what somebody else has, and that contributes to the jealousy problem. And at the end of the day, you don't have to be jealous. If you want something to happen, deal with people that you can learn from. But keep a circle small. Because you're going to have people around you, whether they're your loved ones or not, and I'm talking about family members and friends, that you're not going to want to be around when you're successful because they're going to be jealous of you because they weren't successful. See, the crabs in a barrel mindset just doesn't lay with the black community, it lays with everybody because it's all about jealousy. And this is why there's a lot of shaming going on. So at the end of the day, as a man, and of course as a woman, travel the road alone. Now, if you pick up a good partner along the way, you two keep your relationship to yourselves. Don't let anybody in your relationship. Because the minute you start letting people in your relationship who are jealous of your relationship may fall apart. Because you're going to have a lot of gossiping going on. And what comes out of the jealous people's mouths is always propaganda because they want you to be miserable just like they are. And that's the whole point of jealousy. And you have a number of people who don't like where they are in life, but they won't do anything for themselves. But they want to make you feel bad because you want to do something for yourself. Jealousy is a problem. And like I said, as a man or as a woman, you got to stay away from people who are going to give you that negative energy. You got to stay away from jealous people. Because, again, people who are jealous, it's like a cancer. And when that cancer spreads, it can kill you. And jealousy can kill you. But many of us don't take heed of that. But when it comes to your life, you only got one life. And make sure you make the best of it. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 401 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube. If you like what I just presented, please comment, share, and subscribe. Also like the video. And come and comment, share, and subscribe on my other channel, The Mind of STEM. It's a little bit more lightweight. I talk about science, technology, engineering, and math. And also, listen to all of my Blog Talk radio shows. Now, the guest calling number is 215-383-5785. Now, I do most of my Blog Talk radio as a commentary because I like a quality show. But you can still listen to the show. And if you missed the show, you can always go into the archives. And that's Blog Talk Radio /401 Talk Zone radio show. Now, I always put the links to all of my YouTube channels, my Facebook, my Twitter, and my Blog Talk radio shows under the video. So click on all of the links. And as a person, just want to tell you this. Make sure you're always in good spirits. Because good health, good spirits will lead to a happy life. And once again, that's it for this video. Once again, my name is Leon Jones. You have a wonderful and blessed day. I'm out.